All right, so today we're going to help get you ready for a leather production manager interview
Okay.
using RoleCatcher's career and interview guides and their AI tools.
Sounds good.
We'll use these to help you tackle those tricky questions.
What's really cool about RoleCatcher is it goes beyond just generic advice. It provides insights that are specific to the leather production manager role.
Okay, cool. So first things first, what does a leather production manager actually do?
Right.
I mean, it sounds pretty straightforward, but I bet there's more to it
Oh,
than
absolutely.
meets the eye, right?
It's a role that blends technical expertise with leadership and also business savvy.
Okay.
You would be responsible for everything from sourcing the raw materials to overseeing all those production processes, managing a team, ensuring quality control, and even collaborating with other departments
Right.
and suppliers too.
Wow, so it's not just about knowing how to work with leather.
No, yeah.
It's about managing that whole production ecosystem.
Okay.
And speaking of ecosystems, RoleCatcher doesn't shy away from the realities
Of
of,
the work environment, right.
yeah, it's important to understand that you won't be sitting at a desk all day.
Right.
You're going to be on the factory floor,
Yeah.
which can be noisy, dusty,
Yeah.
demanding, all that.
Definitely not for the faint of heart,
No.
but for those who thrive in that hands-on dynamic environment.
Yeah.
It can be super rewarding.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about what those hiring managers
Okay.
are looking for in a letter production manager. RoleCatcher breaks it all down into essential skills and knowledge,
Yes.
into core abilities and knowledge areas.
Right. And one core ability that really stands out is monitoring.
Okay.
According to RoleCatcher, this is used almost 70% of the time on the job.
Wow.
So that means you're constantly assessing performance, figuring out what needs to be improved, and making adjustments to optimize that whole production process. That makes total sense in a fast-paced production environment like that,
Yes.
where efficiency and quality are paramount.
Exactly.
Another interesting insight from RoleCatcher is the importance of education and training
Yes.
as a knowledge area.
It highlights the leadership aspect of the role. You're not just managing those tasks, you're developing your team's skills and knowledge,
Right.
fostering a culture of continuous learning.
So you're not just a boss, you're a mentor.
Exactly.
You're a coach.
Yes.
All right, so let's get to the heart of this deep dive.
Okay.
Those interview questions.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher provides a bunch of sample questions along with some really valuable insights into what interviewers are really looking for.
Yeah.
Plus some sample responses to help guide your approach.
And they even have AI-powered tools
Wow.
that can analyze those specific job descriptions
Okay,
and help tailor your answers.
cool. We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah.
But for now, let's tackle some of those questions head on. All right, first question. Describe your experience with leather sourcing and procurement.
Okay.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But what are they really trying to assess here?
I think they're digging into your understanding of the leather supply chain, right?
Okay.
Do you know where to find high-quality materials at competitive prices?
Right. Yep.
Can you handle the whole sourcing process, like identifying supply or negotiating those contracts? They want to see that you can make strategic decisions, decisions that will impact the company's bottom line.
So it's about showing your ability to think strategically about that whole sourcing process.
Yes.
Balancing quality, cost, and efficiency.
Exactly.
What kind of follow-up question do you think they might ask?
Well, they might ask about a time you faced a challenge with a supplier.
Okay.
Maybe a delay in delivery.
Yeah.
Or a quality issue. They want to see how you handle pressure, your problem-solving approach,
Okay.
and your ability to maintain those positive relationships, even in tough situations.
So even when things get a little rocky, you know how to keep it cool
Exactly.
and maintain those relationships.
Yeah.
All right, next question. What is your experience with leather cutting and stitching processes? Are they expecting you to be a master craftsman at this point?
No, not necessarily, but they are looking for a solid understanding of the technical aspects
Okay.
of production.
Right.
Have you worked with the machinery involved?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand the different techniques?
Okay.
And how they impact the final product?
So even if you haven't personally operated the machines,
Right.
you need to be able to show that you've got a basic understanding
Exactly.
of how it all works.
Yes.
What kind of follow-up question do you think could trip someone up here?
Well, they might ask you to describe a situation where you had to troubleshoot a problem
Okay.
with the cutting or stitching process. This is where they're testing your problem-solving abilities
Mm-hmm.
and your understanding of all those technical details.
Gotcha. All right, moving on to a question that really gets to the heart of quality control.
Right.
How do you ensure the quality of finished leather products? This one feels high stakes, you know?
It is. Quality is super important in the leather industry.
Yeah.
They want to see that you understand the whole quality control process.
Right.
From raw material inspection to the final product assessment.
Okay.
Have you implemented any quality control systems in the past?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand those industry standards and the best practices?
So it's not just about catching defects.
Right.
It's about preventing them in the first place.
Exactly.
What kind of follow-up question do you think could really throw someone off here?
Well, they might ask you to describe a time you had to deal with a major quality issue.
Okay.
You know, maybe a whole batch of leather that didn't meet the standards.
Wow.
They want to see how you handle that pressure, your decision-making process, and how you're able to protect the company's reputation
Right.
and the customer satisfaction all at the same time.
Yeah. That's a lot to juggle all at once.
It is.
All right, so let's tackle another challenging question. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem in the leather production process?
Okay.
This feels like a classic behavioral question.
Yeah.
They want to see how you think on your feet, right?
Exactly. The key here is to choose an example that showcases your analytical thinking, your ability to figure out the root cause of the problem, and your approach to finding a solution.
Got it.
It's your chance to really show off your competence and your resourcefulness when things get tough.
All right, so how do you structure your answer?
Okay, so start by clearly describing the problem that you faced.
Yeah.
Then explain the steps you took to figure it out, to diagnose it, the solution that you implemented, and of course the outcome. Don't be afraid to talk about the challenges you faced along the way and how you overcame them. You know, it shows resilience and also a willingness to learn from those mistakes.
Totally. What kind of follow-up question do you think they might ask?
I think they might ask you to kind of quantify the impact of your solution. You know, did it make things more efficient?
Right.
Reduce costs, improve quality? They want you to show the actual benefits of your problem-solving skills.
Right. So you need to be able to back it up.
Exactly.
With some hard numbers.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to a question that assesses your passion and commitment to this field. How do you stay up to date with trends and innovations in the leather production industry?
Okay.
This one seems kind of like a softball question, but it's actually a really great opportunity to showcase your enthusiasm, you know?
It is. So don't just rattle off a list of publications you read. You know, show that you're really engaged and genuinely interested in those new developments.
Yeah.
Talk about conferences that you've attended, online forums you participate in.
Okay.
Maybe even professional development courses that you've taken.
So it's about taking that proactive approach
Yes.
to learning and staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
What kind of follow-up question could really test your knowledge here?
Well, they might ask you to talk about a recent innovation in the industry that you found particularly interesting and how you see it impacting the future of leather production.
That's a great way to tie it all together.
It is.
Now, let's move on to a question that focuses on your leadership style. How do you manage a team of leather production workers?
Oh.
This is where you can really showcase your people skills and your ability to build that positive and productive work environment.
They're not just looking for someone who can give orders.
Right.
They want a leader who can motivate, inspire, and guide their team to success.
So it's about showing that you can get the best out of your team.
Yes.
While also creating a positive and supportive work environment. Right?
Exactly.
What kind of follow-up question do you think they might ask?
Well, they might ask about a time you had to deal with a difficult employee or a conflict within your team.
Right.
So be ready to talk about your approach to conflict resolution, performance management, and just maintaining a harmonious work environment.
Even when things get tough.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about a question that often comes up in production management interviews. How do you prioritize competing demands in the leather production process?
Okay.
This is where organization and time management skills are really key.
Absolutely. They want to see if you can handle that pressure. You know, make tough decisions, keep everything running smoothly when you have multiple projects and deadlines all competing for your attention.
So how do you answer this in a way that really convinces them that you can handle the heat?
I would share a specific example from your past where you successfully managed those competing priorities. Maybe you had to oversee a couple of production lines at the same time.
Right.
Or deal with an unexpected delay in raw materials. Explain your system for staying organized, delegating tasks, and making those decisions when under pressure.
Right.
And if you use any tools like project management software or any prioritization matrices, mention those as well.
It's all about having a structured approach to managing that workload.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's move on to a question that's really important to the leather production industry.
Okay.
How do you ensure the safety of workers in the leather production process?
Right.
This is obviously crucial.
Yes.
And they want to see that you take it seriously.
Absolutely. Safety should always be a top priority in any production environment.
So what are some key points to emphasize here?
Well, you can talk about specific safety protocols that you've implemented, maybe some training programs you've developed, or just your personal philosophy on workplace safety. You could even mention any experience you have with safety audits or investigating accidents.
Gotcha.
The more specific you can be, the better.
Right. Concrete examples.
Yeah.
And a proactive approach to safety will definitely impress them.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's move on to a question that often comes up in production management interviews. How do you manage costs in the leather production process?
Okay.
This feels like one where you get lost in the weeds a little bit, you know?
It can be tempting, yeah, but the key is to focus on the strategic aspects of cost management. The interviewer wants to know if you understand all those different factors that contribute to those production costs, and if you have a plan to control them.
So how do you answer this without getting bogged down in all the technical stuff?
Well, I would highlight your experience with budgeting, cost analysis, and process improvement. Talk about some specific initiatives that you've implemented to reduce waste, maybe optimize resource allocation, or even negotiate better prices with suppliers.
Great advice. Now let's tackle the final question on our list for this section. What is your vision for the future of leather production? This one seems a bit more open-ended than the others.
Yeah.
Also a little philosophical.
It is. Your chance to show your passion for the industry, your understanding of the challenges, and your ability to think innovatively.
Gotcha.
Think about those trends that are shaping the industry, like sustainability, new technologies, changing consumer preferences, and just try to articulate your vision for how leather production can adapt and thrive in the years to come.
So it's less about giving them like a specific roadmap. And more about just showcasing your big picture thinking.
Really? Exactly. And they might follow up by asking how you would actually contribute to that vision in your role as production manager.
That's a great point. It's about showing that you're not just focused on the day-to-day, but also on that long-term evolution of the industry. And with that, we've covered some of the most common questions that you're likely to face as a candidate for a leather production manager role.
But before we move on, let's not forget about RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools. These can really help you prepare for that interview.
It's like having a personal interview coach.
Exactly.
Available 24/7, right in your pocket.
Yeah. Their CV builder, for instance, uses AI to analyze those specific job descriptions. And suggests ways to optimize your resume. To highlight the most relevant skills and experience.
So you're not sending out just a generic resume. You're tailoring it. To each specific job.
Exactly. It's awesome. And their AI-powered interview practice lets you record yourself answering questions, and then you get feedback on your delivery and content.
It's like having a virtual mock interview with an expert.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Now, let's jump back into those interview questions.
All right, let's do it.
We've got a few more to cover.
Okay, I'm ready.
That can give you a real edge.
Okay.
How about this one? How do you stay up to date with trends and innovations in the leather production industry? Seems pretty straightforward. But there's more to it.
I see what you mean. It's not just about knowing what's new. It's about showing that passion. And commitment to learning.
Exactly. So when you answer, don't just list off those publications or websites. Give specific examples of how you actively engage with the industry knowledge.
Gotcha.
Talk about conferences you've attended, online forums you participate in, or even courses you've taken to, broaden your knowledge.
It's about taking that proactive approach.
Exactly.
To stay ahead of the game.
Yes.
What if they follow up? by asking about a specific innovation that's caught your eye.
Okay, that's a great opportunity to really shine.
Okay.
You can talk about a recent innovation, maybe a new processing technique, or a sustainable manufacturing practice, and share your thoughts on its potential impact.
Oh, yeah.
Show that you're not just keeping up, but you're thinking critically about those implications.
All right, now let's tackle a question that's all about leadership. How do you manage a team of leather production workers?
Okay.
I imagine they're looking for more than just someone who can bark orders.
Absolutely. They want to see how you motivate, delegate, give feedback, resolve conflicts.
Right.
This is where you can really draw on your past experiences and give some specific example
Gotcha.
to showcase your leadership style.
So instead of just saying, I'm a great leader, I need to back it up with some real-world examples.
Exactly.
What kind of follow-up question could really test my ability here?
They might ask you about a time you had to deal with a difficult employee.
Okay.
Or a conflict within your team.
Right. So those tricky situations.
Yeah. So be prepared to talk about your approach to performance management.
Okay.
Conflict resolution. Maintaining that positive work environment.
Even in the face of challenges.
Exactly.
That's a good point. They want to see that I can handle the people side of things. As well as the technical side.
Right.
All right. Let's move on to a question that often comes up in these production management interviews. How do you prioritize competing demands in the leather production process?
Okay.
This is where those organizational and time management skills really come into play.
Absolutely, because in a fast-paced environment, there's always multiple projects and deadlines.
So we should juggle.
Yeah, so how do you convince them that you can handle it?
Right, like how do I convince them that I can handle that pressure?
Share a specific example from your past where you successfully managed those competing priorities. Maybe you had to oversee multiple production lines at the same time. Or deal with, an unexpected delay.
Right, those curveballs. Explain how you stay organized. Delegate tasks, make those tough decisions.
Exactly.
And if you use any tools like project management software. Or those prioritization matrices. Mention those too.
Yeah, it shows that you have a structured approach.
Okay, now let's address a really crucial question.
Okay.
How do you ensure the safety of workers in the leather production process?
Right, that's paramount. In any production environment.
Especially in an industry like this. Where there are potential hazards.
Absolutely.
So they want to see that I take this seriously.
They do?
That I'm proactive. What are some key points I should hit?
Okay, well, you can talk about specific safety protocols that you've implemented in the past. Like maybe regular safety training programs, equipment inspections, risk assessments. If you've developed any innovative safety procedures or initiatives, definitely highlight those.
It's not just about knowing the regulations. It's about going above and beyond.
Exactly, creating that culture of safety. Be prepared for those follow-up questions, too. They might ask about your experience with handling safety incidents or how you would enforce those protocols with employees who aren't complying.
Right. Okay, now for a question that gets to the heart of a production manager's financial responsibilities. How do you manage costs in the leather production process? This feels like a question where I could really get lost in the details.
Yeah, it can be tempting to get bogged down in the jargon. But keep it strategic. Show that you understand all the factors that influence those production costs and that you have a plan.
So how do I strike that balance?
Focus on your experience with budgeting, cost analysis, and process improvement. Share some examples of how you successfully reduced waste, optimized resource allocation, negotiated better prices with suppliers, and whenever possible, quantify your achievements.
Use those numbers.
Exactly.
That makes a big difference.
It does.
Okay, now for the final question in this segment. What is your vision for the future of leather production? This one's interesting.
It is.
It seems a bit more open-ended.
It is.
Than the others. A little philosophical almost.
It is. This is your chance to showcase your passion, your understanding of the challenges, and your ability to think innovatively about the future.
I like that.
Think about the major trends,
Yeah.
sustainability, new technologies,
Yeah.
evolving consumer preferences,
Right.
and just articulate your vision for how leather production can adapt and thrive.
So it's about showing that I'm thinking about the big picture.
Yes, and they might follow up by asking you
Mhm.
how you would contribute to that vision in
Good.
your role as production manager.
So tying it all back
Exactly.
to the actual job.
I like that.
And don't forget,
Yeah.
RoleCatcher's AI tools can help you refine your answers
Right.
for these kind of open-ended questions.
It's like having that extra support system.
Exactly.
With that.
Yeah.
We've covered a wide range of those interview questions
We have.
that you're likely to encounter as a candidate
Yeah.
for a leather production manager role.
Right. But our deep dive isn't over yet.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and explore some of those broader insights
Mm-hmm.
from RoleCatcher's Career Guide,
Yeah.
just to help us understand this leather production manager role even better.
One thing that really stood out to me in the guide
Yeah.
was the emphasis on continuous learning.
Okay.
You know, the leather industry,
Right.
it's constantly evolving with new technologies, new materials,
Yeah.
new sustainability practices. It's always changing.
So it's not enough to just land the job.
Right.
You got to keep learning,
Yes.
keep growing throughout your career. Exactly, and RoleCatcher suggests a few ways to do that.
Okay. Like what?
Subscribing to industry publications,
Mm-hmm.
attending those conferences and trade shows,
Right.
and even joining those professional organizations.
It sounds like networking is a big part of it, too.
Yes, absolutely.
Staying informed, building connections.
Exactly. Networking can open so many doors
Yeah.
to new opportunities, provide valuable insights,
Right.
help you stay updated on all the latest trends.
Okay.
RoleCatcher even provides tips for networking,
Cool.
like attending industry events,
Right.
joining online forums,
Oh, wow.
reaching out to people for those informational interviews.
So it's all about building relationships.
Yes,
And leveraging those connections
exactly.
to really move your career forward. What about mentoring?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Is that something I should consider?
RoleCatcher really highlights the importance of finding mentors,
Okay.
people who can guide you and offer advice
Mm-hmm.
throughout your career.
Right.
And then as you gain experience,
Yeah.
consider becoming a mentor yourself.
Okay.
Give back to the industry.
Yeah.
Help develop those next generation professionals.
I love that. Paying it forward.
Yes.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything you need to know
I think so too.
to ace that leather production manager interview
Yeah.
and really launch a successful career in this field.
You're well equipped
Mm-hmm.
to make a great impression on those hiring managers.
Remember, confidence is key.
Yes.
You've got this.
Absolutely.
And don't forget about all those fantastic resources
Right.
from RoleCatcher,
Mm-hmm.
that career guide, the interview guide,
Yes,
and those AI-powered tools. They're your secret weapons.
they are.
All right. So use those resources, fine-tune your approach,
Yeah.
polish those responses,
Mhm.
showcase your passion and expertise.
You got it.
Go out there, rock that interview,
Good luck.
and let us know how it goes.
Yes, let us know.
We're cheering you on
We are.
every step of the way.
Abs-
Good luck.
We can't wait to see what you achieve.